Hi, my name is Tiago Duarte and welcome to another video tutorial here at DailyBeats. Today I'm going to talk about sidechain and I'm going to show you three methods on how you can, or three different ways how you can create sidechain. There are more ways, more advanced ways, and I will talk about that in the premium and exclusive section. But for now we are just going to take care of three methods which are very simple. And one is about compression, and two are about two different type of plugins that you can use. So before we start, I would like to ask you to subscribe and activate the notifications so that you know when I upload new videos. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment below. Also, if you like this content, consider buying one of my products at DailyBeats.pt. We have beats, sample packs, plugins and tutorials, and also you can also become a premium or exclusive member, and you will have access to the exclusive content and also to the project files that I do here. So, and sample packs, you will have access to the more exclusive content that I produce. So before we start the tutorial, so why it's important to talk about sidechain? Because sidechain is a very important technique. Not just for, it's very popular in electronic dance music, but it's not just for electronic dance music. You can take advantage of sidechaining for a lot of different situations. And I'm not talking just in this sense. I'm not talking just the sidechain of just lowering every sound when the kick hits. You can do, for instance, if you do auxiliary reverb, that's called also sidechain. If you do parallel compression, that's also called sidechaining. And they are different methods and techniques to do different kinds of stuff, and I'm going to try to talk about that in the video. So before or without further ado, let's start the tutorial. Okay, so here in FL Studio, every time you send a copy to a different channel, you are creating a sidechain. So side is, if you say the name sidechain, what is chain is a chain of stuff. It's like a group of stuff, like a chain. And it's called side because it's parallel or outside of the normal chain that you have right now. So let's say that I have a drum loop. So let's bring a drum loop here. So let's go to loops. Let's go with this one. Let's go with this one. Okay. Let's lower the velocity a little bit just for sake of the tutorial. Okay. And let's lower the volume a little bit, and let's send this to channel 2. So we have this drum loop. I can add stuff here. So let's say I want to add maybe a effect. So let's see here. Let's go with Fidelity Q here, and let's say I want to add a little bit of low frequencies. Okay, and I also want to add here. So this is normal, this is width. And let's say I also want to add, I don't know, a little bit of compression. So let's go with this limiter. Let's go to compression, let's add a ratio of maybe, I don't know, 3:1. I'm just doing stuff. It's not what I want to do right now, it's just showing you something, a concept. And that's important for you to understand. So let's say this combination of two plugins is called a chain. It's a plugin chain. So if I want to do a side chain of this chain, let's say, what I can do is send a copy of this of the sound of this of everything. So let's say here you have post, but you can put pre. So let's say Okay, so there is a very important distinguish here. So, but let's keep it as post. So everything that is outside of these two channels, or of these two plugins, will also be sent to this one plugin here. So let's say that I put like this and I remove this here. You have in this one here the same effect. So if I disable here, you see that the effects are also disabled in this one. So let's say I want to add in this here. So this is the original. Let's call this original, and this is side. Okay. So let's say I want to add a lot of I don't know, maybe distortion to this channel here. So let's go and remove this from the master. Okay. And let's go and add some distortion here. So let's go with fast distortion. Maybe not that much. Okay, and I also want to add, let's say I just want distortion on the top end. So let's go with Fidelity Q and let's add a bypass or a high pass filter. So I just have distortion on the lower part of the track. Okay, so now I want to blend this signal with the original. And I could also, to make this a little bit more, how can I say, present, or to make this effect a little bit more understandable, let's add a reverb. So this is without, this is with. So what I'm doing here, I'm just adding again back to the original, alongside with the original signal, I'm adding a different chain, and this is called sidechain. So the side chaining is not just what you see on electronic dance music. There's a lot of stuff that sidechain is a concept, is more than just the ducking every sound when the kick hits. But that's what I'm going to talk about here. So I wanted to make this distinguished so that you understand the difference, that you understand what's really, when someone talks about sidechaining, it's not just lowering the volume of the other sounds when the kick hits, like you see in electronic dance music. That's called the pump effect, but you can accomplish that without sidechaining, and I will show you how. So let's add a new one, and let's go with some kicks. Let's add a kick here. So like this one, let's put it 4 to the floor, so like this, and let's make this 128, something like that. So we have a nice kick, a nice 4 to the floor kick, and this is called 4 to the floor because it hits on every other step, and on every step actually, or on not step, every beat. So let's say I have this here, okay, and like this, and I want to add maybe a bass. So let's go with where is it, harmless. So let's see what I can do here. So let's go with this, and let's put the bass, this pattern here, and let's do something like this. Okay, let's lower it down. Okay, and now we can give a little bit of room like that, and we can even make this something like that. I'm just doing some crazy stuff, so I'm not I do not care right now about the melodic part of this. I'm just trying to put my thought across. Okay, so this is a nice rolling bass, so let's keep it like that. Yeah. So we can even add maybe here something different, a variation. And here we can do something like that, just to be different. Okay, it doesn't sound that great, but whatever. So the idea here is just to have this rolling bass. Okay, so what I want to do now is to lower the bass whenever I have a kick, a hit of the kick. And also before that we can also add here maybe a pad. So let's go with the Synth Classic GMS and let's add here a pad and textures. Okay, let's go with this one. Let's have just a minor chord like that, something very simple. So the idea here is not to have a full music, it's just to give you the concept. So let's put here the rolling bass and also the pad. Okay, and let's lower the volume. Here for the bass, to make this a little bit easier to listen to, let's add a Fidelity Q and a low pass filter. Maybe we can even add something like that and make this just to have some variation. Okay, so let's say I have this stuff here and I want to duck everything besides the kick. Whenever the kick hits, I want to lower everything down. So one good way to do that is just to, now let's create a new channel here and let's call this pump effect or pump FX, something like that. Well, I normally call this sidechain when I'm doing EDM or trance, or techno actually. And let's route to this track only. So all these sounds will go to this effect or this channel, which is again called sidechaining. But yeah, and what I want to do is to send a copy of this kick here so that this channel affects this one here. So what I can do here, if you go down here to these arrows, you will see that we have route to this track, sidechain to this track, and sidechain to this track only. I recommend you use sidechain to this track and not, or whenever you want to do, here will only sidechain that or route the specific track to the other one. So I just want sidechain to this track. And what this is just a copy without volume of the signal. So if you want to sidechain something, you just click, but now you'll have signal and you just remove the volume. And now you will have a copy of this signal going to that one. Okay, so that's how you can sidechain stuff in FL Studio. So let's go here. And now I want, let's use limiter. Okay. And now we are going to get, it took like 15 minutes to get here, but I hope I came across with the concepts. And because those concepts are important. It's better for you to understand first the concepts and then go to, if you are starting out. If you are not, you could jump here, but yeah. So let's go ahead. So the first thing we have to do is move from the limiter to the compressor, and we have here something called sidechain. And if we right click here, you will see we have kick, R bass, and pad. And that's why I said that even if you are sending these tracks here to this channel, you are sidechaining, even though this will not affect, it's just a routing. So it's the signal going from one channel to the other one, and this is just routing. But whenever you just you are sending a copy of the original signal to a different signal without being the master, you are actually technically creating a sidechain. But yeah, in this case there is no other route. So this channel here is acting like an intermediary between the sound that comes into this channel to that one. So if I had something like that, that will be a more evident sidechain. But right now I just have this channel here going into this one, which makes these not technically, how can I say, it is sidechaining because again you can see it here. You see that we have the information here, and we could use this one of the information of these channels here to create some effects. Yeah, so I don't want to complicate too much, but again, let's go here and select kick. And if you play, nothing happens. Why? Because first you have to give a ratio. So let's make it very aggressive. Let's go with 5 to 1 and start reducing the threshold. Whenever you start reducing the threshold, you start seeing these blue lines. These blue lines, if you look carefully, you will see that whenever the kick hits, these are the blue lines. So as you can see, whenever we have a kick, we have a blue line here. So this indicates that we are receiving the ghost or the sidechain signal of the kick into the limiter or the compressor. So let's start reducing, and until we reach the peak of the kick here, of the signal that represents the kick here, there's nothing happening. As you can see, there is no reduction, no compression, nothing. But whenever we start reducing, we start seeing some compression here, as you can see. And you see the effect? This is called the pump effect. So you are ducking everything and just making the kick go through. And this creates this nice rhythm of electronic dance music. That's why I call this pump effect, even though a lot of people call sidechain, which is technically is, but I like to call this also pump effect because it is what it is. It's like ducking the sound and creating like a pump effect. That's why. But yeah, you can even go extreme if that's what you are into, if that's the effect you are looking for. But again, so this is okay, and I can even disable this, and you see a very big difference. This sounds much more like an electronic dance music track or loop than this one. Okay, it depends also on the style, on your genre, whatever. But yeah, that's the effect they use a lot in electronic dance music. So how can we do this effect on different ways? We have different types of plugins that allows us to create this type of effect. And I have one here that I recently discovered, and is under the mastering category, which is kind of, I don't know, it's strange why they would put this on the mastering category, but yeah, whatever. So it's called Air Pumper, and that's why I call this effect the pump effect. And if you see, let's wait for it to load. Okay, if you see, we have this green dot moving through this curve, and this is synced to the tempo, which if I play, you will see that the speed is 1/4 of the bar. So let me try to explain that a little bit better. So we have here, so this is 1 bar. If we go to bar mode, you see that this is 1 bar. If we go to beat mode, you see that we have 4 bars, 4 different bars, 4 different beats. And what this is saying is that it's dividing 1 bar in 4. So we have this rhythm here, or this path here, it's just the length of 1 beat. For instance, if I put like 1/8, 1/8, it's like 1.5, like that. So it will be much faster. If I put 1/16, will be even faster. Maybe, I think maybe like that. Okay. And if I put 32, will be even faster. So you have to take care about this type of configurations. But let's take out. I took out the limiter here, and let's listen to the effect of the pumper. As you can see, it's pretty much the same effect. Maybe here the limiter is not so, let's try to mimic that effect. Let's reduce the release. As you can see, they are pretty close right now. Oops. You have to restart. So whenever you disable or enable this type of plugin, sometimes you can have like shifts on the starting time of this automation, let's call it, or volume automation, which is basically what this type of effect is. It's just volume automation. So whenever we have a kick or the beginning of 1 beat, it's just, or the speed that we have here right now, at least this allows us to create that type of effect. Here in the limiter, no. In the limiter, we just have the beginning of whenever the kick hits, we have this effect. But here it allows us to create different types of effects. We can have the same effect, like the pump effect, but we can also have like this effect, which is just going half of the track, and we can let's take out the kick. Let me add a little bit of gain so that you can listen better. As you can see here, and if I go even higher, it's not so perceptive right now, and 32 even less. So if I go for 1.5, this effect will only happen, let me take this out, this effect will only happen every 2 beats. So as you can see, it's restarting every time it comes to the beginning. So I hope this is clear, and that's why you can create different different effects with this plugin here, instead of just using the limiter. So that's the advantage of the plugin besides the limiter, or compared with the limiter. But there is another plugin, so you might not have this pumper. There is also one from I think it's Nicky Romero, which is very cheap. It's like 10 euros or something, and it's I think it's a really nice plugin which has a really nice interface. I never used it, but from what I saw on the internet and in the website, it really has a really good looking interface, and it's Nicky Romero, so you can search that. And we have another plugin which is native from FL Studio that allows us to do that. Unfortunately, I think in the producer and I think the first 2 versions of FL Studio, it's not included, which is GrossBeat. You have to have the third or the most expensive version of FL Studio. And you can see here it's called SideChain. So let's enable it. So you have this type of stuff offline by default, but you can, how can I go here? Let's go here and put this single curve, like so. Let's create a new one here, new one here, and a new one here. And we have pretty much the same effect. As you can see. So the same effect with different plugins, and the first one is the concept it's on itself, it's different, which is limiting, not limiting, which is using compression, but these ones here, the pumper and GrossBeat, are just volume automations, which is the case of this of the GrossBeat. The advantage of GrossBeat is that it's not just volume automation, it's also a time automation. So we have this type of curves that we can do. We can do other type of curves like this, like a tremolo. I don't know. We have like transcades. I don't know, we have a lot of stuff. Let's go back to the sidechain, and we also have, but this is just volume automation. And then we have like time automation, where we can have like stuff like this, which is automating the time. So, sorry, let's put this empty and let's go back to this one. And you will see that this creates some kind of like a scratch effect. So this is much more than just volume. It's timing. So it's manipulating how the sample or how the sound the sound is played over time. Of course, I can also go here and then do something like that, create very complex waveforms. Maybe I don't want this to be a curve. Okay, something like that. Okay, I hope you get the idea of what you can do with this type of plugins. Again, so they are very different plugins on themselves. You can do the same thing with them. You can accomplish a lot of stuff with a very, I don't want to say limited, but you don't just have to have a plugin to do something. So you can do stuff without having so let's say you wanted GrossBeat to do sidechaining because you saw a video where someone was doing sidechain with the GrossBeat and you like the way it sounds. You don't necessarily have to have GrossBeat. You can do that with just a limiter, with a native Fruity limiter from FL Studio. You can also have a third-party plugin like this, the hair pumper. There are countless of plugins that do this type of automation, and the most important thing here to understand is the concept and how you can achieve that. There are a number of other ways that I will go into in the premium exclusive section, but these are they are the three most go-to ways to create this type of effect. In this case, the pump or the pumper effect, and or you can call it sidechain, whatever. And this is it, guys. So if you want to see more advanced techniques on how to create or how to achieve this type of effects, and even more use this type of effects in mixing, which are very powerful, which is like the it can make your track go from being okay to being wonderful, and translate very well on other speakers, on whatever speakers. You can do a lot of great techniques with this type of concepts, and I will go and explain them on the premium and exclusive section. So I hope you learned something, and if you are new here to this channel, subscribe and activate the notifications so that you know when I upload new videos. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment below. Also consider buying one of my products at DailyBeatsVI, or become a premium or exclusive member, and you will have access to the more exclusive content and also to the project files of these tutorials. And I think this is it, guys. Again, I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.